John and I will do a little bit of a double dip. So thanks everybody for coming along. It's great to see that many people. I mean, John and I, that whole thing came out of a casual conversation roughly a month ago, and for a month get so much excitement and people collaborating around the space. We'll hear a little bit about two organizations, Adelaide City Council. Thank you very much for the catering tonight, by the way. And e-researchers area will have a little spiel afterwards as well. But there have been quite a few practitioners, and we've been very surprised in terms of what's actually happening in this space in Adelaide already. Why are we doing this? Yeah, good idea actually. So this everything that carries power is connected to a power link will eventually be connected to the internet. Now, I wouldn't be wanting to put a time frame to this, and obviously we're talking about first world countries here as well, but certainly there's a massive opportunity in what we're doing, and hopefully by kickstarting this in Adelaide, we want to be at the forefront of it rather than be on the consuming end of all of this technology. Very short about the Growing Data Foundation. The Growing Data Foundation came out of Unleashed 2014, and probably thank you very much to the Unleashed team that can't be here today, but also to the Premier and DPC. Sorry. Oh, sorry. I'm going to hand over in a second. No. So without the Premier's Award that we won in that year, we wouldn't be around. So what we decided after getting this kickstart funding is creating a non-for-profit foundation with a mission. Obviously, put it up here to supporting open source community, open source and open data community projects. The three icons there are sort of the three O's that we like to go by: open source, open hardware, open data. So hopefully what we're trying to do is very collaborative, and we want to do it out in the open. It has been working quite well so far. So that's a little bit about the foundation. The Things Network. Now, why? I've got asked that a fair bit in the last few weeks. Why do we actually have to create another radio network? Why not use Wi-Fi or some of the existing technologies? There's a couple of reasons for this. One is in the inherent in the name of the technology. The technology that we're using for this is called LoRaWAN. LoRa standing for long range. So what we're trying to do is use these networks in remote environments. And the reason why we, from the foundation's perspective, became involved is we do a lot of work with community organizations, environmental organizations such as Reef Watch or Trees for Life that generally work in remote spaces. There's no Wi-Fi connectivity in rural or semi-rural area, and we have to cover long ranges. The other reason is power. So this technology is very low power, so we can talk about years worth of sensor work off a single battery. It might be a very expensive battery, but we're talking very low power compared to any other network.
And also the open nature of the network as well, and the zero cost for the action.
Now, one thing while I see it, does anybody know what this could stand for? That Brent, you're out, and people on our Slack are out as well.
Is there a prize?
Sideways goggles.
It could be finger food. We'll get to
not the run more balls.
Yes, we were trying to find something that's simple enough to signify the. So we're very much up for other ideas. We tried churches. Anything else was too complicated. But if you have any better ideas for logo design, or please talk to Brent here. And thank you, Brent, very much for helping me clean up these slides. And
I was going to say, Leo, that probably get confused with the Pokemon balls.
Hey, there's a Pokemon ball coming. Very quickly, what the Thing Network actually is. So it's an open source, an open, decentralized, and crowdsourced worldwide Internet of Things data network.
These points on there are actually points of gateways, existing networks up and running. So you can see Adelaide is missing here, but we're working very hard on that, and we're only a few weeks away, hopefully, from the first dots appearing. You can also see the number here is 1,000 something. Europe is obviously very well covered, but Sydney in Australia is doing extremely well. UTS and Union Wollongong have been very instrumental in getting things running there. Yeah, but as I said, we're hoping to be on the dot very soon, and I'm hoping that in 3 weeks' time we might be passing Perth already, and my aim is to get past Melbourne very soon. So a little bit of Victorian SA rivalry. I'm not sure if the numbers been. There's 6 gateways, number of gateways in that particular community. Yeah. Now, what I thought is, and I've worked before, I'm not sure if it's going to work now, rather than me talk about this, about the Thing network itself and what they're trying to do, it's a very good Kickstarter video that I'm trying to kick off now.
An Internet of Things data network that's created by the people and free and open for everyone to use. That's our mission as the Things Network. We are a group of people that is building a global, crowdsourced, open, free Internet of Things data network. New technologies allow for things to connect to the Internet without Bluetooth, 3G or Wi-Fi. This technology is called LoRaWAN. It's very, very efficient, so devices can last up to 3 years. It's long range, it has a reach of around 10 kilometers, and it's low bandwidth, ideal for the Internet of Things. The good thing is that this network can be built at a fraction of the cost of traditional mobile data networks. The bandwidth used by LoRaWAN is open, and the network equipment is low cost. In the old world, building such a network was up to large corporations. We built the network ground up, funded by its users. So with a small group of people, it's possible to provide data connectivity for an entire city. It's our mission to support that globally. The city of Amsterdam was covered in 4 weeks, and use cases were built on top of that, starting from the first day. We experienced that contributing to the network by purchasing and installing a $1,200 gateway is still a very big step to contributors. Therefore, we decided to take the production of a $200 gateway in our own hands. That is when we talked to John from Product AC Tweetonig.
Hi, I'm John from Tweetonig, and we are a product design agency focused on smart products. Our team has over 10 years of experience in connected devices and getting them to mass production. Over the past 6 months, we worked on LoRaWAN. And then we heard from the Things Network, and of course we were able to lead it. Together with the community of the Things Network, we developed 3 products that we offer you to get started with LoRaWAN right away. The first one is the Thing Gateway, and it's a $200 alternative to all these expensive ones.
It's 250 euros now.
Up to 10 kilometers of LoRaWAN range. The second one is the Things We Know. This is the development point. Based on the Arduino Uno, we build in LoRaWAN connectivity. It allows for very easy prototyping like we used to with the Arduino platform, but now right on the Things network. The third one is the Things Node. It is actually a remote that has built-in temperature sensoring, motion sensoring, northern light sensoring, and an RGB line and a button, all in a waterproof battery-powered case. This node is perfect for testing all kinds of use cases without ever fiddling around with hardware. After the Kickstarter, we make all our code and designs open source, enabling everybody to make better or cheaper LoRaWAN products, all in the philosophy of the Things Network. To make the Things Network global, we need everybody's help. That way, when you buy a gateway, we make sure that we update the region so everybody can keep track of our progress. Some of our pledges even contain complete packages. That way universities or governments can unlock a campus or even a whole city. To get you started with LoRaWAN, we even have pledges, including a workshop with one of our community members to teach you how to work with these kind of tools. Together, we can make this. Join us today.
Okay, so that what I will do, these slides are Google Slides. If somebody was actually taking notice of that QR code at the beginning, I'll put them on back. You can get a link and I'll put it into the Meetup afterwards for everybody to get a copy of the slides. Now, again, I'll probably browse over that because it came up mostly in the video before. Why we're going to to the thing network, it really boils down to the main fact is we don't want to reinvent the wheel. We can stand on the shoulders of those that have already done a lot of that work interstate and overseas. There's some interesting encryption, it's open source, and most of all, it's the network neutrality is built into that particular protocol. Now, it's probably worth pointing out that these gateways don't have to be connected to the thing network. So you can run private gateways as well for secret squirrel stuff or your own usage. But obviously, we would like to encourage at least at the beginning to have as many as possible open gateways, and then also have the data available openly under an open data permissive license. Very quick overview of, I'm not going to get too technical today. I know that there's a few people that know a lot more about the technology than I do, so I don't want to be pulled up on some of the details either. I'm learning very fast over the last month. So the overview of the thing network and any LoRa WAN network is really to the left. You have all the nodes, so there's a couple of example sensors: temperature, humidity, radiation, NOC, nitrous oxide, light sensors, and the other one that turns the other ways. You can also have actuators, so you can actually turn things on and off. It's worth pointing out that on the Things network, that is severely limited, because it being a public network, we don't want to have obvious security and other problems. So the uplink functioning that is severely limited. If you want to do that, if you want to really reliably turn things on and off over a long distance, you're really probably better off running a private gateway. The next level is the gateways themselves. So that picture up here is actually fairly accurately what we're hoping to have in a month's time. There's 2 LoRa gateways that, thanks to e-researchers, they will have on order coming hopefully by the end of next week or the week after. And we have a Thing network gateway, the one that you saw on the video, coming as well. The current delivery time is September. Then you have the whole software stack, which I go a little bit in the next slide. So that's things like authentication, like application layers, like routing and other things that happening in the software stack. And for South Australia only, and Paul and Sarah will talk about that a little later, we will have an open data storage and application layer in South Australia, thanks to e-researchers saying. That's sort of a typical, and that's as technical as this will get. So again, that's the software stack broken down. Just shows a little in terms of how complex and really error resistant this can become the more gateways you've got. If you have a gateway failing, it can reroute. So you've got a gateway layer, you've got a router layer, which basically sends things to the correct brokers. The brokers, according to what they're receiving, they're sending the data to the correct handlers, which then interact with applications. And for our Adelaide example, we will then have an S layer, which is the storage layer after, where all of our data hopefully will be stored. The Thing network at the moment doesn't deal with storage layer at all. It's a data routing layer. John, you want to talk too much?
No, thanks, Leo. So what we're doing here basically is what are the drivers that are going to help expand the network later on? So how many more organisations can we get to come in and supply the gateways basically and help power them and get them turned on and put them in the right spot? So these are the sorts of things, if you take back to your government departments or your local council or your company, these are the sorts of things, reasons why this is a good idea. It's obviously there's just a list and we'll share that later on, but again, what's in it for South Australia is something that I'll be working on to tie back with strategic plans and things like that, so any help with that would be appreciated. And yeah, that's basically, as you run through there, the idea of South Australia as a digital lab, demonstration that the very size of Adelaide is conducive to these sorts of networks. So we're all here talking about it, and there's people from government, there's people from the private sector, there's people from research, all in the same room. That's pretty rare in a larger city, so we're quite lucky with the size that we need to be able to be sort of early adapters and use this as part of the reason why Adelaide's going to be a smart city and why the state's going to be a smart city, a smart state. So there's all the benefits of open data. I've got some information about why open data is a good downstream economic multiplier. So if you need any arguments about why should I give away data for free, I can give you the reasons why it's a good idea. And then we've also got sort of opportunities for local manufacturing as it transitions into the next sort of stage of manufacturing our cars into sort of smart things. So basically, that's it from me. That's all.
That's a little bit of a timeline. So obviously we pretty much exactly a month ago that we kicked all of this off. We've obviously got the first meetup right here, right now. We're actually very much ahead of the next deadline. So we were thinking that the TTN gateway that we have ordered as a foundation would arrive by the end of September, but hopefully we'll have the first two coming in the next 10 days probably, and we can get kick-started, and I'll go a little bit into what we're trying to do with that, but we're very much up for suggestions and ideas from the community. So we're hoping by the 18th of October to have the first pilot project connected, data flowing, a couple of dashboards, the backend technology piloted. So that will be an interesting task, and the more hands we can get on deck, please feel free to help out in any area there. And we are hoping to officially launch the TTN Adelaide network as part of the Open State Week, possibly together with you guys at an event, a joint event. So. Just quickly about Unleashed Adelaide. So after a year of rest, after 2014, I'm getting too old for these weekend jobs. We decided to do another competition this year, and we made our life a little bit harder. We had two projects this year. One of them, the Smart Nest Internet Connected Possum Box, or whatever you want to call it, is back there, so you can have a look at it. We were faking the network connection. There were unfortunately no LoRa connectivity available for the reasons outlined, so we were using the Wi-Fi of Reese's Telstra dongle. Okay, current example. That's been really interesting to see, and we have a few people in the room that actually have. Andrew McDonald is here actually, that has done the Centrify. Andrew, do you want to have a quick outline of what you were trying to do and what you achieved?
Yeah. Have you got internet on that?
Yes, we do.
You can always play my video.
Okay, I've got it. I've actually got it linked. There you go.
Oh, if that's the long one, you probably don't want to.
Oh.
That one goes for half an hour. It's a tutorial about.
No, okay. Let's let people watch this one. Maybe if you can give a couple of sentences, just what you've done. And,
sure. I thought I've got another shot, which is probably better for tonight.
All right, folks, we might get underway.
Sorry.
So,
if you can put your pockets away, so.
yeah, maybe just kill it and I'll just talk. So talking about competitions, there was another one last year called the Hackaday Prize, which was run out of LA by the Hackaday website, which is a kind of a portal for people like us that just like to build stuff and break stuff. And they won this competition where the first prize was a trip to space, but whoever wins it usually takes the 250k. Anyway, so I live out in the country. I've only got 8 acres, but I'm surrounded by farmers with real farms, and they've got hundreds of acres. And one of their problems is what to do in the summer season when they're cropping, and they're worried about grass fire dangers and setting fires with their headers, because they can't just rely on radio weather forecasts, because it turns out the weather can vary from one side of their paddock to the other. It's like a kilometre across. So I got together with him because we're both tinkerers, and I said, well, let's build a remote monitoring station to work out the grass fire danger index. And along the way, to cut a long story short, I discovered the LoRa technology, which is not the LoRaWAN, but it's a layer below it. And we built some a remote, basically a glorified weather station that measures the wind speed, the temperature and the humidity, and can work out the grassfire danger index and return it over the radio link back to the farmhouse. Where I had another box, like a do-it-yourself version of that, of the gateway, which would push it up to the internet, and then you could view it on a chart and see, well, what the grassfire danger index was. But of course, once you start realising you can log everything forever, every 5 minutes, all these different data points, we just started capturing everything. And you can start looking at throwing some more buzzwords, big data and stuff in the future to see if you can learn about your crop. So it'll just expand from that. Actually, I'll just quickly get a picture. Can you tap? Yep.
I think that's
Hopefully I have a couple of pictures, because a couple of people were asking.
I had it linked on the slide.
Yeah. So a couple of people were asking some questions about the LoRa stuff earlier, so I can actually answer them from here. So that's not showing that well, but that's basically a system diagram of what we were aiming to do. In the end, we only built one Century Farm module and a gateway because we ran out of time. It's still not coming up very big, unfortunately. If it lets me. Nah. But you get the general idea, and it's basically like what Leo was saying before, where you would have a bunch of remote nodes doing stuff, and they send it back to the radio, and it just comes out on the internet. So this was all built on top of open source software, which was one of the big things of the Hackaday Prize. I'll see if I can scroll over to some other pictures. So one of the things we did, that's a homemade antenna. My friend made it out of wood and copper piping. Part of our approach to this Hackaday Prize was basically the push mechanic approach to electronics and software, really. So that's a solar panel and a rather dodgy bunch of wiring, but it did work.
Very cool.
So that's a circuit board we sort of rigged up, and that part here. Those are $20. They're the modules that do the remote node for LoRa, if you feel like rolling your own. So like I said, I wasn't using LoRaWAN. I was just using them for the high performance radio link, and then doing a really dumb protocol, sort of like what you get with those remote controls for your lights in your house. Because it's really every 5 minutes sending a few bytes of data about what's going on back. Basically dealing with the stuff that Thing Network give you just made the whole project too hard and not worth the effort, so we skipped it for this. Anyway, so that's a very early shot. It looks a lot better now because I spent some time improving it, but it's the kind of information you can get out of the system. But I have one of what people were asking about, how the radio part of it works, and I've got a photo if I can go back to.
The other thing probably interesting from your end is your practical distances that you
got. So that's just about what I'm going to hopefully get to. That's really hard to see. But this is actually quite hard because it's close to that. I've got some pictures. So as part of this, we went for we set the system up. We had a gateway node at my house, and then